All right. Episode 9. And this one's going to be called Let's Retire Living the Dream. So this is just a phrase I hate. It's my second least favorite phrase besides it's a small world. But living the dream I just hate it. I hate when I see my friends on the soccer fields. I hate when I see my friends at work and they say living the dream because it just sounds so sad, right? It's just the opposite, right? Right? Like you were just saying that like this isn't awesome right now. And that sucks, right? And I know we feel that way. We feel that way all the time. But this episode I want to talk about like some of my experience with journaling and how Eileen Guo had this awesome line. So I think I'm gonna lead off with that. But I'm gonna call this like episode 9, Let's Retire, Living the Dream. Um, Eileen Guo, you can look this up somewhere, anywhere on the interwebs, and she was asked a question. So she's the most famous freestyle skier. I think in one of these I said she was a snowboarder, but it turns out she's a freestyle skier. But she's like super smart, young, awesome, medals. She's amazing. And one of the reporters asked her, like, do you think before you talk? And she said it, she prefaced the question by saying, like, I don't mean this disrespectfully, but like you're just so smart and you can talk about like politics or skiing or anything like really quickly. Um, and what she said was like she journals a lot. She used a bunch of big words that I don't understand. She talked, well, I mean, I understand, but I wouldn't use them. But it was like introspective. She talked about how it's like she's in her own brain a lot, right? And because she journals and she thinks about her brain, she talked about how she's like, it's not like, it's not in like a cocky way or whatever, a word bigger than that, an arrogant way, but she's always like tinkering. And I feel like that's what I've been doing. I feel like journaling allows you to do that. I did a presentation on journaling. We have a day at school where you can do presentations on anything or not do one and go to a presentation, try and learn something. It's awesome. It's like my favorite day of the year. But so I did one on journaling. Um, and I'd seen this on Instagram like 2 or 3 days before the presentation. I was like, oh, that's it. Like that's what journaling does for me. It allows me to figure out like what's important. It allows me to keep bouncing ideas kind of off myself, which obviously gets old, and that's why I need more friends to help me think of what's the best thing I can do for my kids and for myself. But she talked about how if we can control our thoughts. She mentioned neuroplasticity, which I think means she's so young, her brain's still growing. I don't think my brain's growing anymore. If you listen to episode 8, you know I've been trying to murder my brain for a long time through making bad decisions anyway. Um, but anyway, she talked about like if we control our thoughts, then we can control who we are, right? And that's kind of someone much smarter than me explaining this like experiment I've gone through the last 2.5 or 3 years of journaling. And this is where it's landed me. Um, but like, I want to retire living the dream because it's just so sad, right? And especially like if a friend on the soccer field says it, or a friend at work, or a friend, whatever I'm coaching with, or whatever, because like we have to be living our dream, right? Like it's not perfect, right? Like we got problems with money, we got kids we're trying to figure out things for, we got stuff at work, like all this stuff. But like if we can control what we think, we can control who we are, right? So uh we like again, it might not be journaling for you. For me, it's journaling. But like if everything is an opportunity, right? If you can believe like the posters on the walls at schools, or you can believe the if it comes up in your algorithm on Instagram, this idea of like every failure was just an opportunity, right? So is every day an opportunity? And like yesterday, my day, again, huge thanks to my friend who drove Rory for 3 hours. So I got to hang out with Dylan. Um, but I had to deal with that crock pot at the end of the night. I made dinner, and these are just things like we have to do, right? So how my spin has worked, right? One of like the two rules of life or things I live by or values or whatever is to try and be better for Mego. So I know every time I do something shitty that I don't want to do, like make dinner when I don't want to do that, scrub the crock pot, empty the dishwasher, everyone empty the dishwasher, fold the laundry, load the laundry, like all these things. Like I know I'm taking it off her plate, so that makes it okay for me, or that makes me look at it positively, right? When I do chores I don't want to do, I'm like, well, if I don't do it, Mego's got to do it. So if I do it, at least I'm helping her free up some time or time we can hang out or whatever. And I think I've been able to change that. I still like there's so many things I don't like to do. And I think they're getting more as I get older and grumpier. But like if it's something that's like a chore, if I don't do it, Mayo has to do it. Right. So that makes it like, I don't know, not exciting, not like it's not something I want to do. But if I get it done, Mego doesn't have to get it done. Um, and that's I think that's enough for me to get through like these things like the long drives, right? Like who's gonna drive to Jersey, and like who wants to pick up the kids at night when you don't want to leave the house, like all these things. But like if I don't do it, Meadows got to do it, right? And so that helps me kind of convince myself that it's like I'm doing something good, like kind of like you know what I mean, like that's how I get through that stuff, right? Um, at work when there's stuff you don't have to do at work when you don't want to do it at work, hopefully it's helping you get towards a bigger goal. Or if you do it now you don't have to do it later. Like I don't know, but I know this idea of like self-talk is really good for me. Again, it's the ability to journal and understand what's important to me and understand the other thing, and I think I mentioned this, but like look up, like if you look up the arc of time we spend with our kids, it's just it's crazy, right? I think it's 50% by the time they're 8, 75% by the time they're 12, and like 90% when they graduate high school. So that's the other stat that like lives in my brain. So like every time, I'm driving to Taunton or driving further to a game, like I just have to appreciate it because I know in 2035, I'm going to miss this, right? And again, I think that's like easy on if you're in my algorithm with the funny marriage and the club sports craziness, but like we're going to miss this, right? And I think I've been able to convince myself that I truly will. And there are times and days obviously where I don't want to do whatever I have to do, but like it's just better to think of it positively, right? Like we all have friends and coworkers that bring a vibe, right? And it can be good or bad, right? They're either in it, you might have someone who works tough, they got a long commute, maybe their spouse travels all the time, so they're not home and they're alone. And that's hard, right? Like some of those things I don't have to deal with, but I have very good friends who deal with that stuff. They might have little kids. I still have friends. I was so an awesome thing I got to do yesterday. Was I texted a kid from Chatham who I haven't talked to in a couple of years, and we are just talking about our kids, man. And I was trying to like not build the relationship, but like keep the relationship going. Rory came home and she had dissected a dogfish. They went to some camp thing or whatever. And that was something I did for like my fifth grade science project. I dissected a dogfish with this kid. So I texted him and he's like, "Oh yeah, I remember that too." And then I asked him about his kid and we are talking about our kids, but it was awesome. But anyway, where I was going with that is like with young kids, right? When you're not sleeping and this stuff's super hard, right? The problems, bigger kids, bigger problems. We've all heard this different stuff. But like we have a choice every day, every moment, like when I'm done doing this, which is what I want to do, this is what I want to do to get out to the world, is record these 10 podcasts. Then I have to go unload a full dishwasher and do the laundry. The laundry's an easy load because last night's load sucked. It was all Mego and Rory warm weather post soccer stuff, so it was like confusing shirts. I had to check the tag a million times because I didn't know if it was Mego's or Rory's. Um, but like I think we have the power to look at things in the right light. And like I didn't used to do that. Like I didn't used to do that. Still there are things today that will probably come across my desk at work or at home where I just am like, God, I don't want to do this. But if it's a long drive with my kids or a short drive with my kids, like I won't get to do that in 7 years, right? And even less, right? They'll start driving, right? So the window is so short. So I believe what Eileen Guo said, this idea that like we can control our thoughts, we can control who we are. And I think like so like 3, 4 years ago, maybe longer, when people are doing the living the dream stuff, people ask me how I'm doing, and I say great, right? And I know for lots of reasons, right? I'm the luckiest guy in the world, right? I understand, like I have I wrote like what I think could be like if I got my 300 followers in a room, right? Like again, friends from my whole life, um, so from Chatham to Medfield. I think I could write a stand-up comedy thing, and one would be like sorry to my mom. I could do that. I think as like an actor one, but the other one would be like I'm the best and the worst at white privilege, and the worst because I didn't learn about it until I was about 35 years old teaching at Wellesley High School. The best because like my life's a joke, right? Like I've been so fortunate and so lucky that I now understand that I have it. Um, and I embrace it and use it and go on awesome vacations and I'm living my best life, right? So if I say I'm living the dream, I really am, right? But no one, you can't say how you doing. I'm living my dream, and you can't say that. But I did start saying like great, like 5 years ago. People say how you doing? I'm like I'm great. And sometimes they obviously it catches people off guard because usually they're like good, yeah, you too. Oh, I'm living the dream, whatever. But sometimes I'd have to defend it, right? And then so I find a way. I'm like, all right, well, I got a class to teach next. I got like, there's at least one kid in there that I think I can try and connect with. Hopefully more. Hopefully there's more good stuff. I get to coach soccer, right? Like what is going on great in my life, and every day there's an opportunity to look at my life, and people think it's crazy and hard and all those things. And sorry, hard's probably not the right word. Uh, People might get very annoyed if they have to leave work every day uh, and drive until 9 o'clock at night. People might get very annoyed if, you know, they spend 8 weekends since March in a different state than their wife. But then I did that episode and said, sorry, mom, and realized like my mom never saw my dad because he was out fishing. And he was fishing. He was doing something wicked dangerous, not just driving the carpool around. And, I'm like hopefully laughing with either my kids or if it's a carpool, hopefully we're all having fun, catching up, talking about whatever. But I do think we have the ability to like be positive or negative in every situation. And it's so hard. It's so hard. I've been trying to do this for years since I said the great thing. Again, give me 4 or 5 years of that. Started journaling 2 or 3 years ago, and I gotta go unload the dishwasher. And that sucks. I just want to sit on the couch. I just want to hang out with Mego. I just want to market these podcasts. I want to tell my 300 followers these podcasts exist, and I want to have these conversations because I need to, because it's so hard to raise kids in 2026. But I think I'm pretty good at putting a positive spin on things. And I wasn't. And now I'm like, feel like maybe I'm getting worse as I get older. But like every crappy chore I have to do is something Mego doesn't have to do. And that's enough, right? Like again, my goals is be better for Mego. Every time I have to deal with a tough situation, hopefully I can make it better. And changing that mindset has like changed my life, right? I'm happier, right? Like life is good. Um, I enjoy life. I enjoy things that I wouldn't have. I still might not enjoy them, but I try to convince myself that I do. And it's super hard to just trick yourself all the time to being like, this is great. This is a good opportunity. But I think it's possible. Like I'm not all the way there, but I'm like so much better than I was, like 3 or 4 years ago. And then this idea of understanding like I need more to build more relationships to help my kids and to help the 150 new kids I get and coach and teach every year. Like that changed everything, right? And I'm just starting that. Like last night, I texted my kid I haven't talked to in a couple of years. Um, the woman, my friend that drove Rory and drove her home, like I was trying to send her enough text so because she has the same life I do, right? She's got kids that are all over the place, and I just wanted to make sure she understood how grateful I was because her driving Rory meant I got to hang out with Dylan at my house for 4 hours, and that doesn't happen that much. Um, So trying to build these relationships, I think will push me. That's again super hard. Like I talked about, like years of staying on sidelines and trying to ignore people or not wanting to build that bridge. Um, but I think I'm changing, and I think if we all try to spin things more to the positive, right? Which I talked about, like all these toxic dinner conversations, and with my own kids talking about other kids on the team or their coaches and things I don't like or whatever, and that's all just not good stuff, right? We just need to focus on our kid, their growth. We need to focus on like the positive things, and it makes life so much better, right? It's like it's it seems so simple, but it's so hard when we're in it. But so I think that's it. I got one more. I'm gonna try and do it, and I'm gonna try to hang out with Mego all night. Um, but that's it. Let me know how you are most successful, like spinning the narrative, right? When you have crappy things to do, how do you trick yourself? For me, anything with the kids, like the time's just too limited, right? I've already spent 50, 60, 70% of the time I live with Roy and Dylan, and that sucks. So every time I get to drive them somewhere, I put that in my brain. Um, every time I have to do a chore I don't want to do, if I do it, my spouse doesn't have to do that. And that will make her happier. Or take something off her plate or whatever. She won't have to do this thing no one wants to do. But so those are my two. Let me know what you do to try and, put a positive spin on things. And let's get rid of living the dream. How are you doing? You good? You bad? You great? And whatever that is, if I have time, let's talk about it. Right? We have to build that relationship. But that's it. Thanks. I love you.